Tangwaji. Usimpe. Inaitwa tatizo? Oh yeah, mimi ningesema tu DJ niweke ile usimpe roho yako. A beautiful, beautiful song for sure. And as we promised you right here on the show this beautiful Thursday morning, we're going to be giving you nothing but good vibes from the music that we will be playing to the moves that we are going to be busting over here. I mean, naweza kuwa tunachocha, maybe hata tutabust sana, but wewe ukiwa home pia, bust some moves. And we will be starting with our first conversation on the show right here today. And today we are doing it a bit differently. We're not talking to a musician, we are talking to an all-round artist. He is a digital artist, he's an illustrator, he is a designer, he is a mentor in the same field. He is none other than Brian. And he's here to talk to us more about his work in the digital art space. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. It's not as cold as yesterday.
It's not as cold.
Imeanza vizuri.
Imeanza vizuri kabisa. Uko sure ni huku ndani na kuna joto ama nje pia kuna joto kidogo? It's not as cold. I guess
maybe I've adapted. Maybe we've adapted. So I'm feeling good today.
All right. We're going to be asking you to bust some moves later.
Okay. Tutaona.
It's good that you've not said no, Masema tutaona, so there's a possibility that we are going to be dancing with you as well. For those who are seeing you for the very first time, maybe you can introduce yourself the best way you know how.
So, my name is Brian Omolo, born and raised here in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a digital artist. I also do graphic design, and I've also been teaching for the last almost 10 years now. And my work entails telling stories, creating artwork that tells stories for companies, and sometimes also create artwork that tells stories for myself. And all those interesting experiences, all those interesting experiments brought together to just make an interesting experience for an audience.
Okay. You're an illustrator as well. So how do you differentiate between or what exactly is an illustrator? When you say I'm an illustrator, what does it mean? What does illustrating entail?
So I think it's because a vast majority of my artistic process involves drawing by hand, using interesting line work, and then mastering how I use color and different visual elements to bring together to create something visual. So because majority of that process involves that hand drawing, using that interesting line work, interesting use of shape, colors, and other design elements, it tends to fall a lot under that space of illustration.
Okay, and designing? Is there a difference?
I guess that's an interesting question. I think with graphic design, you don't always necessarily have to know how to draw to be a good graphic designer. Like there are times when people create really good logos. They may have drawn during the sketching process or creating ideas, but the final part of it doesn't necessarily have to have illustrated lines or things like those. And graphic design can cover more. It can cover even things like photo manipulation. It can cover things to do with layout design, design that's done for printing, design that's done for the screen. So I would say graphic design has a wider scope. That's how I would differentiate.
All right. So where did your love for art begin? Take us way back when you realized, when you first encountered art and when you realized, oh, I love this.
Cartoons. Club Kiboko, Saturday morning, I would pause cartoons. Like I would watch like any other millennial kid Saturday morning. And then there are times when I learned how to record them on the VCR. And then I would pause, try and draw a few of them.
Oh, how old were you by then?
Must have been like 7 years old. So my parents saw that and they were like, okay, I think this is something that he's interested in. And then from there, I've just always gone to schools that prioritized teaching art. I was in St. Mary's for like over 10 years. And that was an amazing place to be creative. After that, I've also gone to other schools and colleges. I've gone to college here in Nairobi. And everywhere I was, there was space for me to challenge myself and to grow artistically. So it's been a good journey.
Would you say creative specifically in the art space, the drawing bit, would you say it pays in Kenya?
Yes, it does. But of course, everything has its challenges. For you to earn, you have to take time to learn not just the creative side of it, but you also have to learn the business side of it. You have to understand what are some of the problems that potentially your clients have, what are some of the problems that your art can solve. Is it businesses are struggling to connect with their audience? So is there a way you can create art that can help them connect to their audience? That's a lot of where my space is. But sometimes people just create work, they express themselves, and they create things that is true to them, and then they create products out of those what they've created, and then people buy those products. So the money is there, but it's just for you to understand all these different spheres. Am I the type of person who just wants to create freely and then make products that people will buy? Or am I the type of person who understands storytelling and I want to help solve problems for clients? But I think anybody who's really passionate will figure out where they fit in those spaces and then go in that direction.
And figure how to make business off of it. You know, since you say that you actually started drawing from the young age of 6 years old, would you say you knew from the onset that now this is what I would want to do? And, you know, most people say that, you know, growing up in a Kenyan home, whenever you said you wanted to do anything related to the creative side, the parents were not as supportive. Would you say that yours were also as supportive?
Yeah, I was blessed in that way. Like, there's no avenue that I wasn't supported in. In fact, my parents are the ones who are like, they noticed me drawing and they're like, they made sure the schools that I'm going to champion creativity, the idea of me to go and study certain things.
So they intentionally were looking for schools that, you know, accepted the creativity to just come out.
Yeah, in fact, there's even a point when in Form 2, I was able to connect with a mentor, which is so interesting. Like, the reason I met this mentor was because I was doing badly in the other subjects in school. So I went to this place where I was doing extra tuition classes. And then at that place, that's where they told me, by the way, we also have an art teacher here. His name is Charles. And Charles completely changed how I think about art, even how I carry myself as an artist. He was the exact kind of personality I needed that was opposite to where I was at that time. And after that, it's like certain confidence comes. The vision in your head becomes bigger. And now it's like you have this huge goalpost that you're chasing every day. So yeah, my parents have always been supportive. I think what is sometimes challenging in our society, like you said, it's not something that people know.
They don't see it as a career.
Exactly.
It's
so
like
when you don't see
something
it,
you do to pass time.
You kind of feel like, hey, am I sure about what I'm doing? Is this a crazy dream? But step by step, things open up. And then I think also the internet connected us to people all over the world. So you're seeing people achieve in this area in different places, and you ask yourself, okay, if they can do it there, why not here? Yeah, so it's been a good gamble. All
right, that's amazing. I want us to talk about what I'm holding right here. So we know that when artists get to release albums for that is musicians, when they release albums for the work of art that they've done, they always have an artwork for the album. And I guess most times we don't really think much about that, you know, because we just concentrate on the music that is being, you know, chucked out from the albums that are released. But there's always that art picture that describes the album that is always there. So this is one of it. And you did this artwork. Kindly tell me more about this artwork. Who are you working with, and elaborate more on it.
Yeah. So this artwork was for a group called Od Okodo. So they are a collaborative group. They have Sven, who is a German producer, and he's very good at like the production side of it, the sound engineering and electric dance music. And then you have Olith, who brings in the Benga blues, the Luo mix of music. So that mix of African fusion and then now European electronic dance music came together to form a really interesting sound, a unique sound. And I think it's a good thing even for audience to understand that when you're creating a product, it's not just the music itself. It's like you see artists, they dress the best. Like in fact, most of us get our fashion sense from watching some of our favorite artists.
That's true.
So it's how they dress, it's how they perform on stage, how they perform when they go for a gig, but also visually, how do they show their music? Like when you go on Spotify, what are you seeing for their cover? When you go on their social media, all those are areas where you can tell stories, where you can connect with your audience.
Yeah, and I think it's not something we usually think about, or is it just me? It's not something I will think about. You know, you'll just go, yes, you'll see the artwork, but then you'll just be, okay, let me listen to this first song or the second one or whatever. But I don't think we pay much attention to the artwork, you know, but some are always obviously very captivating. You will take some time and look at it, but it's good to know that there are people who are behind this, and you're one of those people who are behind the artwork. So when an artist approaches you for such, what vision do they give you for you to know what you're gonna be drawing? Do they tell you everything they want you to draw? Like, for example, here maybe they told you, I want like to see tall buildings to represent a city. Let's have a person there with some prints to represent Africa. I can see a koroboi over here, if I'm not wrong. So like, what do they tell you when they come to you for the album artwork?
Yeah, I think the best situations are collaborative. Sometimes they come and they already have an idea of what they want. But like with this one, I was working closely with Sven, and Sven was very like, this is the feeling I have, this is what I want to communicate. And then maybe he might say, the koroboi has to be there. But beyond that, he's open to my imagination of what I can potentially put in. He also provided me the pictures. He did a photo shoot with Olith, so he provided those pictures. After that, I'm the one now who goes away and then comes up with some ideas, and then I show him, and then he'll tell me what he likes, what he doesn't like, and then we continue that way. So I find the best projects are a collaboration between the client and then you, the artist, and you guys working well together to bring the vision forward.
There's also a piece on the back of it. So, okay. Okay, I don't... Because for album work, artwork, we're used to the fronts. Or is it because we see it online, so it's just the front? So this is like an actual physical hard copy
it's a vinyl
album. That's why it also has the back artwork.
So if you look in the music scene, vinyls are really making a comeback. And when we were creating the stories and coming up with different ideas, the idea we have here on the back was also very strong, because we placed the koroboi at the center, and it was really trying to give that story of, you know, like the way people enjoy music, even up country. The koroboi allows us to quote unquote party all night, and that euphoria continues. But then you can see I've also fused in like different buildings and sort of a world existing around this musical experience. And if you look closely, there's even some musical instruments hidden in there, like a piano. So
I haven't noticed.
So it's just interesting ways to play around.
I can see the
this
piano.
feeling.
It's actually very obvious. Here, right?
So, and that's the fun of it. That's the kind of things that I really enjoy doing, where we don't know what we're gonna get at the beginning, but we kind of go off on that journey, and we end up somewhere good, like here.
I like it. I love it. So, do you enjoy doing such?
Yes. It's amazing. It's a mix of so many things. Like there's always that interesting nervous tension when you're starting from scratch, because people will always come to you, I saw you do this, so I want you to do something even better with this. And I'm like, yeah, no problem, of course. But every artist, if they're really honest with you, it's like a footballer. I had the earlier interview, people talking about football. A footballer can't promise you a hat-trick every game. We just train well, you eat right, you get ready. So even the artist, you get inspired, you have things that you do to get you in the right creative mood. And then you try your best. And sometimes at the beginning it's nerve-wracking because you're not sure how it will go. But then I've always found that with process, you know, there's that thing where they say inspiration finds you as you're going. So don't wait to be inspired by something, then you start. Usually as you start and as you're playing around with ideas, and after some time, something hits. And then you feel it. You can feel, like I could feel this was going to be a good project once we started going. And even with the kind of client you have, any client who's ready to collaborate and give you information and participate in that process, you can kind of feel it. You can feel, yeah, this one's going to be...
definitely know this is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Now, I checked your Instagram, and there's a post where some of the very recent ones where you had worked for a fellow creative. And you mentioned that, well, the pressure that comes with that, when you're working with a fellow creative, specifically in the drawing field or artwork, it comes with pressure. Tell me about that.
Yes, I feel, even for myself, like if I was to do an artwork for myself, I'd be my own toughest critic. When you're working with people who, it's not that I take the creative's work more seriously. It's just in my mind, I know this other person also has a visual eye and they have a high standard. Because a lot of us, our taste is like here and our ability is here. And every day we're just practicing to get better so that our ability has reached what we're imagining. So I'm thinking about those things as I was creating what I was creating. But again, that client is a very collaborative person, participated in that process, was very open to show me what she was feeling, what she was thinking. And along the journey, it came together, So that's another project I'm really happy. It's one of my favorite projects from last year.
It's the one that had a lioness?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that lioness had a really huge story, an impactful story to her. So she wanted to make sure that was featured in the identity of her studio. You know, the idea of a strong feminine character and something that is uniquely African, but just unique and interesting in its own way. So I was happy with how it came out.
So what you're saying, fellow artists have, like their point of view of critiquing is A1, because you know they're critiquing from a point of knowledge. It's not like someone just like me who's not really, I can't draw nothing. I mean, and then now I want to critique your artwork. So when it's from a fellow artist, you just know, okay, now this one.
Maybe it was even me imagining that, because I'm imagining, like, if I had to create something for my studio, like if you told me today, do a rebrand for O'Brien Studio, I'd just be like, whoa, where do I start? Is it good enough? Is it not good enough? But somehow I like that tension. I like that feeling of, okay, I have a challenge which feels like I might or might not be able to accomplish. That creates a good, exciting, sort of nerve-wracking tension between how will I do it, can it be done? And therefore, you feel excited to go on that journey. There's nothing more boring than knowing, this is what I can do, and you almost do it like clockwork. You don't feel like going on journeys like those. You want to go on the journey where there's like a chance it might work or not work.
Okay, you have two pieces with you here. I think we begin with this one. You can just hold it and then you tell us more about that piece. There we have it. What's happening?
So many things.
It's giving fun. It's giving party. Because I can see a microphone, guitar, I can see a DJ's decks. I can see the laptop, I can see a camera. And then of course there are people, fun-looking people, because those shades are, you know, cool. Just tell me what's happening.
This is Nairobi. This is Nairobi that I was experiencing back in 2018. It started out as an internet challenge where there's a website called Show Us Your Type, where they challenge artists from all over the world to come up with like a typography of the city that you're in. But for this, I went a bit further and I created like a whole artwork. And these are just different things that I was experiencing and being inspired by in Nairobi. We have, that's my bro. So he has a fashion line called Naiva. So I could see he was being inspired by African fabric. I was also inspired by African fabric. So we see these two models in his clothing. And then I didn't want the usual, you know, when people think of Nairobi, there's always the KICC, Times Tower, Skyscape, which is not bad, but I felt like if someone asked you about Nairobi, that's not the Nairobi you'd explain. You'd explain to them whether you're someone who likes matatus, that's what you'll talk about. If you like music, that's what you'll talk about. And that's Blinky Bill. He had just come up with his album. Yeah. He had just come up with Cut Keys. So I was hugely inspired by that. Chapo, avocado, you know. Yeah, burgers. So things that I would experience, like even with my friends. We have the graphic tablet connecting to the laptop. And then I have many friends. I have a best friend who's a filmmaker. So I always feel that your best artwork is an expression of yourself, the things, your history, the things that you love, things that you feel about the life that you're living. Anytime you see artists express that truthfully in their work, it tends to connect with people. We're all just making like diary entries. So this is my diary entry about Nairobi from 2018.
I love it. I love it. And you know, just as you were speaking about this, I remember I've seen, I don't know if we call it a mural, the one at Museum of Illusion.
I think that's where we met.
That's where we met, It's a mural, right? That's the proper word for it. And it was also like showcasing Nairobi, I think showcasing Kenya. And is that what you're more inclined to, or?
I guess so. I mean, I deeply love this country. I deeply love the things that have made me, I think, who I am. And it's interesting, when you become an artist, you start to realize it's not really about me figuring out what other thing to be, what other thing to talk about. We're all really just talking about what we're feeling here. Sometimes we're talking for other people, other times we're talking for ourselves. But anytime you'll ask me to express myself, the story will be Nairobi, the story will be Kenya, and the story will be Africa. All
right, allow me to take a commercial break, and then we'll be back to finish off the interview. Let's take a break.
Looking to advertise on KBC? KBC announcement services are now available on eCitizen. Visit kbc.ecitizen.
All right, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, we are having a conversation with Brian Omolo, who is a digital artist. Now, Brian, as we finish off with this conversation, you've gotten to win several accolades on your work. If you can just talk to us about maybe one or two of them.
Yes, so those African artists, those are shortlists. They're awarding African artists, 100 of them, MasterCard Foundation. That was back in 2018. And then there was the Sondeka Awards, Best Digital Artist. That was back in 2019. And many other things, like there's times I've also been Faculty of the Year, the institution I teach at. I always say that I feel like the Sondeka Award was for my students, because they know themselves. Some of them, you give them homework, they do half. But once they saw me win that award, suddenly, whatever homework I gave them, they were doing 100%.
Oh, nice. So it was a motivation for them. Amazing, amazing. All right, let's finish off with talking about that other art work.
Yes. So this was a commission by Nescafe Germany. So like, even now, if you are to go to like the supermarket, you'll find. We
can see it. Camera.
Okay. I should maybe lift it. There we go. Yeah, so you'll find when Nescafe sell packages, they usually have like a complimentary mug that comes with it. So for this particular project, they challenged me to come up with like 3 artworks that now the public would vote on. And it's around the idea of sustainable growth, growing responsibly, So the idea of making sure even the farmers are fairly compensated for the work that they're doing. Everybody in the life cycle of these products is compensated properly for what they're doing. So there's aspects of our culture, like materials and things that have grown up being inspired by Maasai market. And then we have farmers and all these things together forming a composition. So it's one of my favorite artworks, actually.
So it was for a mug?
Yes, so
and then
this would end up now on a mug.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
on the red, on the classic Nescafe red mug.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually just printed it for myself as a souvenir to have, yeah.
How long does it take you to do such pieces? For example, this that looks like it has a lot of detailing in it, or that too. Just how long does it take you approximately?
Depending on the client deadline. So sometimes they'll be like, I want something in a few days. I think the idea takes longer than the work. I think it takes time to get a really good idea, which is why I think clients who understand that creative process will end up getting better results from an artist. So the idea takes time. You have to see it, you have to sketch something, show them, they give you feedback. But once I have the idea and then I'm creating, this can be done between like a week to 2 weeks.
A week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As we finish off, maybe for the young or budding artists that may be watching the show today, digital artists, illustrators, graphic designers, and you know, everyone in that niche.
Yeah.
What would you say makes a good artist? As a teacher as well, because you teach art.
Yeah.
So what makes a good artist?
I think so many things. Talent is good. Talent helps. Hard work helps even more. And then I think the last part is just having the courage to be authentic to who you are and just being passionate about life. Like, I'm always thinking about why people feel this way, why people feel another way. What do I feel about 1, 2, 3 things? And then I'm thinking about how to express those things, like loving the thing that you do, loving the process of what it is you do. Because you're going to be doing it a lot. Like sometimes you're working on something for long and then you have to start all over again. So fall in love with that process, having that passion and belief that if this is something that you're talented in, that's for a reason. I think that's almost like a divine purpose. And then believing in the problems it can solve, the things that it can do, not just for yourself, but people around you. And all of those things are a good place to think about, and just believing that it's there for a reason and it will take you somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now speaking for people like my DJ Unique who do not know how to draw.
I believe everyone knows how to draw. It's just a level of drawing. There's some of us who draw maybe simple patterns, others can draw even expert comics.
Can someone who does not have the talent for drawing get into the drawing business and
very
actually
easily? Okay, not
from working,
easily.
just practicing?
Yeah, because now we're in an era where through social media you can connect to content. Things that had me fly across the world to learn, people are learning now just by going on YouTube, going on TikTok. There's stuff that I only found out when I flew away for university. Then now I'm noticing even my students doing things that took me 10 years to do. They are doing it in like a year and a half or 2 years. So that's why I feel there's been no better time to be a creator than now. But of course, with easy access to information, you have more people accessing that same information. So the competition is high.
All right, so there's hope.
Kapsa.
There's hope for people like Unique. When I say people like Unique, I'm also very included there. Because I can't even sketch a chicken. Like, maybe Kwanzaa I'm the worst.
When it comes to drawing, that is where I draw my line.
That's why you draw your line. Nice one. And that is where we end this conversation. Thank you so much, Brian, for first of all just coming and gracing our show today and speaking to us more about this side of arts. You know, so we appreciate. All right. Thank you to you for tuning in for this conversation. Remember, this is not where we end the show. We get to continue. And right now, the dancing shoes I had told you about, Zilete Sasa, put them on. It's about time. Don't go too far.